Hello, Jenny. I've got some questions here. Do you think AI is going to make it harder to get a software dev job? Yeah, actually. So one of the other big stories from today is Microsoft are cutting 9,000 more jobs, and they're putting that money into AI. So this was yesterday. So Microsoft confirmed it will lay off as many as 9,000 workers uh, in the latest wave of job cuts. At the same time, they're spending $80 billion additional on AI, specifically for data centers. So they're cutting 4% of their workforce and taking that money and shoving it into artificial intelligence. So this is just Microsoft, obviously. That's not representative of the whole industry. But I think in terms of getting dev jobs, what we were, I was about to say, what we won't see is jobs getting taken directly by AI. We might be seeing that already. I think it's a more subtle mechanism where instead of demolishing jobs, what will happen instead is there will be less entry level jobs. So if you imagine a company as a pyramid, at the bottom, there's always going to be more entry level jobs than there are uh, kind of senior and then management and then leadership jobs. There's always going to be more at the bottom. AI is really good at whatever's at the bottom. And this is the same across all industries. So the legal profession, you have like legal clerks down the bottom, clerks, sorry. Accountancy, you have people at the bottom, like all of the different professions, all of the different jobs, general jobs are now at risk because a lot of it is, no way around this, is quite mundane algorithmic work that can be done by an artificial intelligence. Um, so what I think we're going to see over time is the bottom of that pyramid will get reduced. So we won't necessarily see jobs being taken directly by AI, but we're going to see the bottom of that pyramid start to shrink because less new jobs are created because the same number of people can do more work using artificial intelligence. What happens though, this is going to be really hard to do with my hands. I'm not sure why I'm doing this with my hands. What happens though is the pyramid will start to collapse at the bottom, and we're going to have an unbalanced pyramid. If you look at like the population chart of a country like Japan, you'll see exactly what I mean here, where the pyramid starts to collapse at the bottom. What happens there is you have a very unstable structure, and it also means you need less people at the top. If you have less people at the bottom, new hires in an organization, you need less managers. If you have less managers, you need less leaders. So it's going to ripple up that pyramid over time. So the question was, is it going to be problematic to get a job? Yes, it's going to be harder to get a software development job. It's not going to be impossible. And if you are already a software developer and you're higher in that chain, higher in that pyramid, you're probably okay. There's a lot of people who are managers and leaders now who are probably looking at this and thinking, I just need to wait out the clock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resist this as much as possible so I can get 5 years, 10 years from now, I can retire and I'm good to go. They're not the people I'm worried about. I'm worried more about the people entering the job market now because they're going to get screwed by the decision of the leadership just to ignore AI. So the people entering, the people at university now, the people entering the job market now, they're the ones who are most at risk from this. And I think the entry level jobs, the lower level jobs are going to be decreasing due to AI. Well, I mean, we're seeing 9,000 jobs, 4% of Microsoft just got cut. That's a lot of people in a company that large. And it's not because they don't have money, it's because they want to take money and put it into AI. I think we're going to see a lot of that across the board in software. So it's probably not the answer you wanted, but I don't like it when people say, oh, no, it's going to be fine. AI will create more jobs. Yes, it will create jobs. That's not very helpful for you right now with your skill set, because yes, those jobs might be created, but it might take 10, 20, 30 years. You right now have a particular skill set. So you're sitting there like, well, that's fine for those people, but what about me? And that's an entirely fair way to think about it. And I also don't think AI will create as many jobs as it displaces, because this is the first time we've had a technology that doesn't only, it's not a tool, it can actually operate tools. I think it's different. So prior to this, we would create a tool and we could use that tool to replace human labor and make us more efficient. But all we did was just use that to increase our efficiency overall. And there were still jobs for people. They would just be using the tool. The human continued to be the operator driving the combine harvester or whatever it is. Now, though, we actually have a new technology which can replace the operator. So it means you do not need a human to operate the tool, because the AI can operate that tool and all the other tools themselves. So for the first time, we have something that can replace our kind of cognition and not just our ability to operate a tool, if that makes sense. And I need to flesh that out more, I think. But I truly believe this time it is different, which is why it's important to have additional sources of income. It doesn't matter what they are, but right now, being diversified, having multiple things on the go is probably the best bet, because we don't know what's going to be around in 5 years. So if you've ever wanted to set up an Etsy jewelry shop, for example, this is the time to do it. Or if you want to, do something on the side, daycare, whatever it is, this is the time to do it, because I think having multiple different sources of income is going to be the best way to weather this out, because we don't know what will happen to each of those sources of income, if that makes sense.